Don't say anything untoward, anyone. It's being recorded. Only in a goosey way, you know, which is quite untoward, of course. Right, let's highlight the there we go. So we can all mute ourselves, and then I'll let you know when there are things we can. Oh, look at that. Exciting. Thank you, everyone. Welcome. Hello, Natalie. Hello, Jennifer. Here we go.
Spirits of the dead, spirits of the living, kindred, welcome. Welcome once again to Crossbones graveyard, to the vigil that honours the outcast, both dead and alive. We're here, of course, obviously and firstly because the graveyard is on the other side of these gates. We've collected here and worked this magical act of sacred profanity every single month for the last 19 and a half years. The 23rd of every month at 7 o'clock, we have gathered here even during lockdown. Welcome to the people who are gathered here live at the gates. Welcome to the people who are on the astral, coming via the Zoom vigil and through Natalie's phone. We do three things here at the vigil. We honour the outcast. We refresh and renew the shrine. And we reclaim the goose's secret history that comes down to us as Southwark Mysteries. It's a very important night tonight. The 23rd of November, every 23rd of November, is the anniversary of John Constable Crowe first meeting the goose, first beginning his goose channeling. The goose is a spirit voice that John Constable is connected to through his shamanic double. And the first time he met her was at these gates 27 years ago tonight. So although we've been coming to the vigil for 19 and a half years, obviously the magic has been being worked for a lot longer than that. Now the goose purports to be the spirit of the Winchester goose, whose spirit was woken up when her outcast dead, their bodies were disturbed by the building of this, the Jubilee Line electricity substation. Many bones, many bodies were lost during the building of that, because that is built on a good deal of crossbones. So really it's no wonder that the spirit of Crossbones was up fighting for her outcast dead. But when she comes and meets John Crowe at these gates, at this magical portal, at this hedge space, that is able to connect one world with another. The goose comes from eternity and meets John Crow in time, and they dance an intimate, loving dance that is so healing, sometimes loud and noisy and quite crude, but so loving that as they dance together, they become one. Body and spirit becomes one. Healing can take place, transformation can happen. John Constable says he started channeling the goose. The goose says, I tricked Mad John Crow when he was in his ecstasy to lend me his voice and make known my prophecy. Goose says lots of stuff, and on Goose Night tonight, you're going to hear lots of goose words. I'm pleased to say. The goose is a shape changer. So expect Goose to come to you in any way that she chooses, or actually, she expresses her whole nature when she says that she will come to you any way you choose. I'll be your icon, your muse, your conceit. I'll be whatever you would have me be. I'll be Mary Magdalene washing your feet if it helps you see through what divides you from me. What a gift. It's a gift. I would like to say one thing before I pass you on to the next member of the Magical Collective. Although, sorry. Although John's meeting with the goose was a transcendent, astonishing breakthrough of the doors of perception, we can meet Goose in all sorts of ways. As she says in I Am the Wind, she tells us all sorts of things that she is, pretty much everything. Most of them are not even humans. I am the wind. I shake the wild grasses. I'm the waft in a butterfly's wing. Here's one for you. I am the wound that prefigures the healing. That makes my heart beat faster. She says, I'll be whatever you want me to be. She also says, you don't know me yet, dear. You will, dear, I promise you. I am a tricksy tart, dear. My aim is to astonish you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the vigil. Mind your backs, please.
We're going to open the pathways now. I have a volunteer to hold a candle. One of these nice Scottish. So in a moment, we're going to have a minute's silence so that we can concentrate on the light and imagine it lighting the open pathways for all beings to join us here. Whilst you're thinking and concentrating on that light, imagine it being a shining emptiness on which nothing can attach itself. No sounds, sights, or other sensations. I'll now hand over to Guy for the next one.
This is the ritual of binding and loosing. It's an act of remembering, of honoring and manifesting. Jennifer will come around with some ribbons that she's kindly collected, one for each person. When we are all ready, we take the ribbon and you will into that ribbon everything that you would want for yourself. And in good time, we will tie the ribbon to the gate and let those blessings out. As we are doing that, we have some verses that we will say. Some people know it already. Some people can follow. I will lead it, but people can do it in their own way. We can do it as a call and response, or we can do it in our own time. We'll repeat it 5 times. And as we're doing that, you're welcome, you're invited. Step forward and attach your ribbons to the gate. For the moment, you put into those ribbons all that you would want for yourself.
Ribbon? Does anybody want a ribbon? Oh, you haven't got a ribbon, have you?
Yeah, we're all good. When you're ready. Here lay your hearts.
Here lay your hearts,
Your flowers,
your flowers,
Your book of hours, your fingers,
your
your thumbs, your miss you mums. Here hang your hopes, your dreams,
your dreams,
your might have been, your locks, your
keys,
your mysteries.
your mysteries.
Here hang your hearts, your flowers,
Here lay your hearts,
your book of hours, your fingers, your thumbs, your miss you mums. Here hang your hopes, your dreams, your might have beens, your locks, your keys, your mysteries. Here lay your hearts,
Here
your
lay your
flowers,
hearts,
your book
your
of hours,
flowers, your
your
book of hours,
fingers, your
your
thumbs,
fingers,
your miss you
your
mums.
thumbs, your miss
Here
you
hang your
mums.
hopes, your
Here hang
dreams,
your hopes,
your might have
your
been,
dreams, your might
locks,
have
your
been,
keys,
your
your
locks,
mysteries.
your keys, your
Here lay your
mysteries.
hearts, your
Here lay your
flowers,
hearts,
your
your
book of
flowers,
hours, your
your book
fingers,
of hours,
thumbs,
your
your
fingers,
miss you mums. Here hang your
your
hopes,
hopes,
your
your
dreams,
dreams,
your
your might have beens,
your locks, your
your
keys,
your
your
mysteries.
mysteries.
thumbs,
Here lay your
Your
hearts, your
hearts,
flowers, your
flowers, your
book of hours, your fingers, your thumbs, your miss you mums. Here hang your hopes, your dreams, your might have beens, your locks, your keys, your mysteries.
Hi everyone. The next section of the vigil is the offerings section. On this night, as Jen has told you, we remember in many ways the visionary inception of this, of John's vision. But
can we just come in,
there's
please?
a card, so if we could move in, or on the other side, then we'll continue after. So, but this vision isn't just John's, it's all of ours. And as Jen intimated to us, the goose is present in our lives in many, many different ways. In any of the exploited, the dispossessed, the downtrodden, and the joyful, the flirtatious, all of these wafts of butterflies' wings. And one of the ways in which the goose is going to be present for us tonight is in the way in which we bookend the offerings. So we're going to bookend it with a reading from this original vision. So we're going to begin and end with a section from that. Today specifically, it's quite appropriate to read the actual Book of the Goose and the Book of the Crow, which are sections from this. But in between that, I'd like anyone, even everyone, if you have something that you would like to share, to offer the goose, it's not an open mic, but many, many different forms of offering are welcome. We've had historical research, we've had poems, we've had odes to loved ones who have passed on, odes to loved ones who haven't passed on, who might be about to. And so any and all of these things are welcome. Anything that's inspired you this month that you think the goose might like to hear. Can I have a show of hands who would like to offer something tonight? One. I hope that didn't intimidate you, because honestly, anything and everything is welcome here. The goose loves to be entertained. So is there anyone other than Jen who would like to make an offering? Something that's inspired you this month? Or... Okay, cool. So I'll have 3 offerings today. This is the Book of the Goose itself. I was born a goose of Southwark by the grace of Mary Overy, whose bishop gives me license to sin within the liberty. In bankside stews and taverns, you can hear me honk right daintily as I unlock the hidden door, unveil the secret history. I'll dunk you in the river and then reveal my mystery. And when our lords in Westminster denounce my impious blasphemy, my gob in the face of all God-fearing servants of his majesty, what though they throw me in the clink, or King's Bench, or Marshalsea, and leave me there to rot, they think, for brazen acts of harlotry? I call upon my bishop as defender of my liberty. When almighty city fathers, those dread guardians of morality, do ban all gaming, drunkenness, and acts of gross effrontery, what though they thunder over there, it matters not a fig to me. Over here's the ward without the law of London City, where whores are subject only to fair Southwark and her liberty. Over there, you'd swear they were the image of propriety, but row them over here, dear, and it's all rape and pillage and bondage and buggerage, with molly boys, what jolly boys, and goose girls underage, taking liberties and license, dear. We all have to deal with them. We pump them and paddle them, and into bed we squeal with them. Let's go bait the bear. What madcap tomfoolery if it wasn't in the service of such pox-ridden majesty. Believe me, dear, been here before, in all me pomp and finery, with Johnny Wilkes and Dashwood and the lords of hellfire devilry, when Southwark's whores disported by the habit of a nunnery at Wickham in the hellfire caves, that chapter house of liberty, when Southwark's mob took up the cry, and the cry was Wilkes and liberty. And when I hear those hypocrites decrying and denying me, who make me the vessel of all known vice and depravity, the way they talk, I'd swear you'd think I was the whore of Babylon, as they make me of me an altar they see fit to rape my children on. And minister of morals, oh dear me, what a carry-on. Over there, it's all the family, and go on and marry on. But when they're over here, dear, then every Dick and Harry on the front bench has some wench on rough trade from Borough Lade. And every mag witch in Shoreditch has been poor St. Mary Overead. And did they think my ghosts would not start kicking against the poxy pricks what had done all the pricking? How could they ever think they could sanitize me? Dress up my clink to decriminalize me? Turn me into their heritage theme park? Over here, dear, want to take a walk down me dark alleyways and doorways, down me blood, fanny streaming, then it's, oops, Jack Shepherd with his silver blade gleaming, and it's one more body ditched in Thames water, dreaming. Yes, I've been here before, dear. Oft times in chastened circumstance, I lay with Master Geoffrey at the tabard making dalliance, after wending on his pilgrimage to tell a tale of Canterbury. And I rode out beside him as the child of Mary Overy went riding for a vision of humanity, man, God, and beast, communing for one moment in eternity, and the healing of the sick, and the questioning divinity who asks herself, what am I to permit such wanton misery? And compassion for all souls that dwell in shadows of mortality, compelling her to take on very flesh of that infirmity until she's born, a crafty whore, stewed in a Southwark hostelry, and using all her wherewithal to take a pilgrim's fancy, and lay with him, and play with him, and open eyes to see the goddess that on judgment day shall stand by man, and make his plea. And I was in that miller's wife, who pushed her tush at Absalom, who kissed he many a wench's lip, but ne'er he such a hairy one. You don't know me yet, dear. You will, dear. I promise you. I am a tricksy tart, dear. My aim is to astonish you. Thank you. Jen has one. Has anyone else decided that something moves them? Jen, would you like to come forward and give your offering? Thank you.
I don't know if you've noticed, some of you don't know me. I've not been well. And I've been not well in a very peculiar way. My heart's dicky. And so I've been thinking a lot about my own mortality. Oh, just come in. Come in. Come in. You don't have to come so close you catch anything off me, but just to stop. Thank you. Now, when I find things worrying me, what I like to do is I like to learn a poem that is opposite to whatever it is that I'm going through. It doesn't actually heal the thing that I'm going through. What it does is it gives me something else to think about so that I'm not stressing quite all the time. Now, when I had this problem before 7 years ago, was just after my husband died. And I learned a poem then for him, and I shared it here at Crossbones. I'd mostly forgotten it, but it seems so apt that I've rerun it again. So really just for practice, I thought I'd try and share it with you lot. It's called Meditations Before the Kaddish. The Kaddish is a Jewish ceremony for the dead. When I die, give what's left of me away to children, and to old men who wait to die. And if you must cry, cry for your brother that walks the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I have known and loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. Love doesn't die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me a word. Woo.
Thank you, Jen, for that heartfelt reminder. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share today? Jen, do you think we have time for the Ballad of Grope Cunt Lane?
What?
You know that one?
I'm sure we've got time for almost everything, but I don't think I've even heard of the Ballad of Grope.
That's actually in John's latest. It's John wrote a book recently about Glastonbury, and I don't know if you guys know this, but the Magdalen streets that you may have seen in various towns, there's one in Oxford, there's one in London, there's one in Glastonbury, used to have a very different name. They used to be called Grope Cunt Lanes, because they were the place where the brothels were, they were the red light districts. And in Glastonbury, Grope Cunt Lane, now Magdalen Street, ran right next to the monastery. And so John wrote this incredible ballad about that moment that I've learnt recently, and it's of great relevance to the vibration and the spirit of this place. So I'd like to share it. I actually know it. And it's about a monk and a sex worker. In Glastonbury Abbey, the monk reads his Bible in a bare, cloistered, candlelit hall. His world is in order, his steps well rehearsed as he answers the Vespers call. And there with the brothers, as he praises Our Lady, he ponders how our Lord was scorned, scourged and nailed to a cross. For man's profit, God's loss, the king with his crown of thorns. And he fixes his mind on how man's soul was bought and paid for with God's death and pain. But then his mind starts to twitch. He's getting the itch to take a wander down Grope Cunt Lane. It troubles his mind as he paces the orchard, and there, by the old fish pond, he knows he has pledged to resist temptation for the promise of the world beyond. Yet he argues, if God didn't mean us to stray, he wouldn't have given us feet. So as darkness does fall, he shins over the wall and scuttles across Magdalen Street. And she's standing there with a rose in her hair and a halo of soft summer rain. And then she leads him into her den of sin on the corner of Grope Cunt Lane. In the meanest of slums, with a child in a cot and a crucifix nailed to the wall, he's thinking about the Garden of Eden, St. Augustine, and his fall. But as she opens the buds of sensual desire, he glimpses a world made whole. How God is revealed when a body is healed, no less than when shriving a soul. And for one moment there, it's too much to bear. The thought that his God once contained within hallowed ground is now doing his rounds in a hovel down Grope Cunt Lane. Dawn finds him distracted in Our Lady's chapel, for now every prayer bears his taint. He feels that with every step that he takes, he's defiling the bones of a saint. At Matins, he goads himself to remember how he once took a vow to be chaste, but now the vow is undone by the apple and its aftertaste. The kindly old abbot reminds him that it's only human to fall. The monk throws forgiveness back in his face, denouncing the sins of them all. He storms out to preach at the marketplace on the flesh, the devil, and lust, how the birds of the air and the flowers so fair must wither to ashes and dust. He may wash his foul soul, hang it out on a pole, but his demon still drives him insane. He cannot unknow the apples that grow in that garden down Grope Cunt Lane. Meanwhile, the woman has more on her mind than saving her God-given soul. There's a child to be fed and a rent to be paid and a dream to be out of this hole. As with coins likely filched from the almoner's tin, the monks form an orderly queue for to step in the door, for to dance with the whore, or to simmer a while in her stew. And such venial crimes scarce trouble their minds, though for Lent they may sometimes abstain. For our poor hapless monk is already punch drunk on the knowledge of Grope Cunt Lane. At the George and the Pilgrim, he falls in with strangers. They call themselves friends of the king. They ply him with flagons of Somerset cider, then he's fired up and ready to sing how the monks live in vice and gross luxury, how they drain the lifeblood of the poor. The king's friends go to town, tear the old abbey down, with the abbot carved up on the tor. In his madness, the monk tramps up Wiriel Hill, hangs himself by the old holy thorn, but she cuts him down, cradles him in her arms, her voice cracked between pity and scorn. Does it please your God if you blot out your life and all that he made you to be? Until you discover your God in the other, from yourself you will never be free. For though you aspire to the heavenly choir, you'll be dragged down again and again, until you take a long look at the God you mistook for the devil down Grope Cunt Lane. Good people of Glastonbury, prithee tell me, which of these served God best? The woman, naked in more than body, or the monk in his iron vest, who made of his world a theatre of pain, imprisoned his God in there? Or a woman in need who did her best to feed her world with compassion and care? The Mary whose sin cannot even begin to measure the grace that sustains. Below as above, God's undying love for his daughter down Grope Cunt Lane. I know I keep asking, but is anyone there? Offerings are still open if you want. Thank you so much for being present. So, as is this kind of tradition now, we're going to finish with a poem from the Vision book. This is the Book of the Crow. Thank you. Oh, that's an amazing contraption. Wow, look at that. There's a bridge of stone and a bridge of iron gird the dock of St. Mary Overy. There's a Southwark goose with a crow let loose at the heart of the ancient liberty. Led him down by the clink through the sweat and the stink of the stews to a bankside oratory. And they saw the tide turn, and they saw London burn, saw it rise from the ashes of history. Then she led John Crow to the river below, and her look was wanton and wild, and he saw through the grime and the ruin of time the face of the child, eternity. Then she gave him a look, that by hook or by crook, she would make him her man. Brother man, quoth she, come heal thy sickness, cleanse thy voice, and I'll have you sing of my mystery. Come drain me marsh and tan me hide, come immigrant and refugee, come brew me beer and wool be dyed in the making of the liberty. Come lock and stock to ovary dock from Flanders, France and Italy, come moles and dolls and folderols, a taking of the liberty. Come heretic, outlaw, Jack Crow and Jack Daw, here shall ye all find sanctuary, where the actors and whores are the keepers of doors that open into the liberty. Come black, come white, we open all night, in the dance of delight, all's one to me. Take each as I find, and I'll have them mind, the stewardship of my liberty. For true, this face has its brute ugly face of tribal bile and bigotry. A mob is turned, a church is burned, all in the name of liberty. We torched the clink, we wanted a drink, we looted a gin distillery, we ranted, we reeled in St. George's Field and bloodied the face of the liberty. And truth is hoary, and the truth is hard. And the walls that are daubed with excrement say, true, if you shit in your own backyard, then it shall be thy testament. Then she turns her crow's eye to a bankside sty, with the spit of the fat of the goose in the stew, and the bear in the pit, and the dogs at it, and the evil they know not that they do. Says, here by the sluice of a goose's juice, let all enjoy my hospitality. But a pox and a curse on the ignorant nurse who suckles such lock-jawed brutality. Our heads were shorn, in carts were drawn, through howling mobs' humduggery, through sticks and stones, God rest these bones now safe within the liberty. And the whipping boy, the Jew and the goy, and the printer put in the pillory, we shall wipe clean his face, for it is no disgrace to be whipped in the service of liberty. The punk and the ponce, and the John Crow dunce, and the broken wing John Crow deformity, then stumble and trip, shall have citizenship, all equal rights under the liberty. Them that hop, flip, and flap like birds in a trap, them that crouch in a house of rats fearfully, in the feeble and frail, and the nightingale who sang at the house of the liberty, in the letting of blood, in the Bermondsey mud, in the leech in St. Thomas Infirmary, in the dumb that talk and the dead that walk, and keep the night watch in the liberty. In the church pews and stews, they whisper the news, the ghost of an old goose's heresy, that the Magdalene whore, a love child bore to the dancing lord of the liberty. And I was in that Magdalene whore who walked the streets of Bermondsey. I traded hard in every yard to keep the child at liberty. To Margaret's fair with bull and bear, with mama's mask and mystery, poor actors fret and strut and sweat the takings of the liberty. Then a theatre torn down in Shoreditch town, and over the river the timbers row. And here in the pit and the reek of it, they're building for me my wooden O. Then the world's a stage, and in these holy days, if you will come with me, John Crow, I'll show you my face and a secret place, the same I once showed Master Willie O. Now all the world knows, and all the world may abhor, but the world cannot unmake poetry. God's actor's a bedfellow here with God's whore in the sacred heart of the liberty. Come, trickster, shaman, prophet and fool, speaking in tongues of the mystery, let all men contend, but God defend the lineaments of my liberty. Come, snake and whistle and rattle and drum, come open me cavern in jubilee, come open me tomb to crackle and boom, and let the bells ring. in the liberty. Come Christian and Jew, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, let each to his own true divinity, let even the blind material mind walk his own hallowed path in the liberty. And seek not to bind the visions you find in naming the parts of the mystery. In naming the part, don't miss the heart of my holy liberty. Though you trick me up as virgin or whore and make me debase right bestially, I am the dancing child, the door that opens into eternity. And by Blackfriars Ditch, old John, he twitch. What I want to know, says John, is why me? And the goose, she smiles. She says, women's wiles. You and me, dear, we've been here before, says she. And it's the old shabby score. The John and the whore, the 6 steps to heaven and the easy ride. But now it's just you and me and the salt of the sea. And today, you do pay me to be your guide. So onto this place, on a wild goose chase, I've led you a merry dance, says she, and you followed the trail, and may live to tell the tale of a friend of a friend of the liberty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. This remains for us to do the blessings. For this, I'm going to ask people to come closer and in a moment, touch the gate. Hopefully, we'll all be able to make contact with the gate, with the gates of the Crossbones. Contains the bodies of the outcasts. And as we're doing that, Jen is going to make a circle around us to enclose us in a sacred space for our act.
Do you mind if I say something, sir?
I'm not sorry.
Thank you so much. I just want to say that this vigil happens to fall between Trans Day of Remembrance and the International Day to End Violence Against Sex Workers. And so I'm a sex worker, and many of my community members are here tonight, and we're remembering, unfortunately, violence against sex workers. We are really disproportionately the victims of violence. And I just want to say that I think any readings or anything that gets in which sex workers are discussed, it's just really important, I guess, that those are led by the community, and also that those words are initiated by the community. And I think, yeah, just for those of us who are here from the sex worker community, I think we just want to say that that's really important for everyone to remember.
Thank you for sharing
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Going to see the same with Jim. To mark this, yeah. we're all safe, yeah. If I could ask you, please, step forward, and I'm going to say a call, a verse, and ask you to repeat it after me, and we do it together. If you could come forward, if you can't reach to hold the gates, then with respect, touch a person who can, so we're all in contact. Yeah. We all good? Life.
Life. Health.
Health,
Health,
happiness,
Open pathways.
open pathways,
pathway,
health in the body,
Yes.
Open pathway.
Open pathways. Health
health
in
in
the
the
body.
body,
Peace in the spirit.
peace in the spirit, love in the heart,
Peace in the spirit.
peace in the spirit, love in the heart,
This that we wish.
this that we wish
we wish.
For our friends and
for our
family.
friends and family,
Things.
for all our siblings,
For us,
for the goose and the
goose and
crow,
crow,
and for all humanity,
humanity,
For ourselves.
for ourselves,
For all our siblings.
for all our siblings,
Goose.
for the goose and the
goose
crow,
and crow,
Humanity.
and for all humanity. May it
Goose.
be so. Goose, may you never be thirsty.
May you never
May
be
you become
Free.
Goose.
may
Just
your
never
spirit
be-
fly free.
Loose may the spirit fly free, and so she does.
So she does.
Open party. Thank you all for your contribution to Belfast Mark Goose Day this evening. Yeah. I'm just going to pass my hat to Susanna in there somewhere. Oh, we've got the captain's hat. I don't have to use my own hat. We have this, and she's too. I don't know to work with captain. If you've got any coins that you can put in the captain's hat, we can use it for items that we need for the ritual. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. For being here also. There's been quite a lot of people watching on Facebook, which is really lovely. You're all part of the vigil, like you've all been to the vigil this month. So thank you for being part of that. Would anyone here like to share anything before we end?
I would.
Nick, that would be lovely.
I'd like to follow on from the woman who spoke last to say that on the 20th, it was Trans Day of Remembrance. And this is a time when we remember all transgender people. We have a very high murder rate and mental health and suicide rates, partly because of the attitude of society. In some parts of the world, for example, Brazil, transgender people only live to about age 35. Often they're murdered by the members in the community. The reason that I got involved with this Crossbones work was because I was very moved by the idea of a graveyard for the outcast dead. And trans people, we've always existed long before surgeries and operations that people associate with us. We've always been here and forced to live marginal existences. And there are a number of trans people who are sex workers because that's the only way of living that's open to them. So it's very important that members of our community speak out about this, but it's really important to have everybody's love and support for all the marginalised people of the world for whatever reason they may be marginalised. And I hope that we can keep all marginalised people in our hearts tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Nick. That's really important what you just said, and thank you for saying that. Shall the Crossbones graveyard site on Instagram posted the trans angel that's in the graveyard on Trans Day of Remembrance. I can probably share it here so people can see it if you haven't seen it. I was just desperately logging in while you were speaking, so I'm just going to find it and then I can show you. I can show it to everyone because some people here won't necessarily have been to the graveyard. So let's just show you and you can see if I share. I think that's. So here, can you see that? It says our beautiful trans angel, a permanent memorial sculpture installed on Trans Remembrance Day last year by our friends at the Outside Project. And then they had a vigil on Trans Day of Remembrance for the unknown lives lost through 2023. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Would anyone else like to share anything before we go? Let's see if Facebook's saying anything. Will we? No. Well, thank you everyone for being part of the vigil. I wish you a very beautiful goose night, and I hope you will join us next month when there will no doubt be bonkers carols singing and all sorts of things, because it will be the 23rd of December, which is always the most wonderful thing at the gate. So there will be anarchy, no doubt, in some sort of way. So I hope that you will join us, and thank you for being here tonight on this such beautiful, holy, sacred night of Goose Night. So thank you, and I will see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Facebook. Bye, Facebook. Bye.
Bye.